The situations portrayed in this program are very dangerous. They have been performed by trained professionals in order to replicate worst-case scenarios of real-life hazards. Viewers should not, under any circumstances, attempt to replicate any of the situations presented in the program. Coming up on House Hazards.
3, 2, 1!
Nature's fury is unleashed. Floods, hail, fire, and even snow. The team is braving the elements and the hazards they cause. Home, sweet home. Well, not as sweet as you might think. Your house is really out to get you. There are thousands of hazards hiding in every home, and our team of experts will separate the fiction from the facts so you can avoid domestic meltdown. Scientist Francesca will expose the hidden dangers lurking in every home. Engineer Dan will show you how everyday appliances can turn from labor-saving to life-threatening. And special effects expert Brendan will recreate the worst-case scenario. Over its lifespan, a house will face all different kinds of hazards, and this house has seen most of them.
That house is in rough shape.
But while we can prevent many of these disasters from happening, others are in the hands of Mother Nature, and it's up to us to protect ourselves as best we can.
Ready?
Yeah. Bring the platform in right above the buckets. Brendan, I'm in the tree right now. Can you try to negotiate a little better, please?
Today, the team is going to test how well we're protected from two hazards that together cause over $10 billion a year in damages.
Easy does it, Brendan.
When Mother Nature wants to be, she can be very hazardous. From tornadoes to earthquakes to avalanches. But today, we're gonna see which is worse, a hailstorm or a flood.
First up is a hailstorm. Hail forms when ice from storm clouds begins melting into rain. If an updraft of wind draws it back up, it refreezes, adding an extra layer of ice, creating the hailstone. As this cycle of thawing and refreezing repeats itself, the hailstone grows until eventually there are large chunks of ice falling from the sky. To demonstrate the trouble that a hailstorm can cause, Francesca's planned a full-on assault. Dan and Brendan will be firing a pair of high-powered industrial vacuums filled to the brim with salt rocks, simulating the average hailstone. On the telehandler, 2 air cannons loaded with dozens of golf balls have been rigged to launch directly at the house, replicating a very destructive hailstorm. And finally, Francesca's gearing up. She'll be shooting frozen paintballs out of a semi-automatic .50 caliber paintball gun.
It'll simulate about the same speed and impact that quarter-size hailstones would have.
Her target is the front of the house, complete with glass door and awning.
The awning is made out of the 3 most common roofing materials: aluminum, shingles, and vinyl.
The roof is our first line of defense against the elements, which means it's also the first to get damaged. The team wants to know which material can withstand the hailstorm best and which one will cost insurers the most.
Okay, go for it.
Hailstorms are rated on a scale ranging from 0 to 10, based on the size and speed of the stones, plus the storm's intensity. A storm with a rating of 10 can last for hours, and Francesca doesn't have enough golf balls for that. So instead, she's going to deliver a combination of a 2, 3, and 5 rated hailstorm all at once.
That was beautiful. It was like
Hailstorm.
violent Christmas snow.
Even though Francesca's paintballs were small, they were traveling close to the top speed a hailstone can reach, almost 200 kilometers an hour, easily breaking through the glass door.
You took care of the door.
I did, didn't I? And the windows.
Meanwhile, traveling at an average speed of 32 kilometers per hour, the larger salt rocks proved no match for any of the roofing materials. But then, there were the golf balls, traveling at 120 kilometers an hour with a collective weight of 7 kilograms.
Definitely a lot of damage. The vinyl stood up pretty well. The asphalt shingles look pretty good. It's the aluminum that is really, really banged up. This awning has seen better days.
I appreciate why you wanted to do this. It demonstrated hail well, but mine's much more simple, and it's much more destructive.
Brendan's test takes 200 lives every year and is the leading cause of weather-related deaths in North America. Behold, the flash flood. A flash flood occurs when heavy rains dump so much water, it's impossible for the ground to absorb it all. The remaining water accumulates, rapidly flowing downhill, often in the path of houses, which Brendan is about to demonstrate.
I've got 3 dump tanks up here. Each dump tank holds about 100 gallons of water. So when I pull them all at once, I got 300 gallons of water aimed straight at the front door.
Into the tanks, Brendan adds another ingredient to the potential watery devastation: debris.
It's the kind of stuff that would actually get picked up during a flash flood.
During a flood, large objects such as these are propelled by the force of the water, ramping up the damage. It's all aimed at the house.
Are you guys ready in there?
All right, bring on the flood.
Flash floods arrive without much warning, with the storms often miles away from the flood path. And just like a real flood, anyone still inside this house would have no way of knowing that hundreds of gallons per second were about to be unleashed on their front door.
All right, here we go. And 3, 2, 1, go!
This is like 300, 400 gallons just devastating the house.
And this is when it came to a full stop. Imagine this was a real flood. It would have kept coming and coming and coming.
If this were your home, there's almost nothing you could do to prevent this devastation. A flash flood like this could lay waste to your entire house. And even worse, you'd have almost no warning before it happened.
What do you think?
This is absolute destruction. Francesca's hailstorm looked spectacular, but it didn't really cause much damage. Brendan's flood, however, wreaked havoc on our door, on our front entrance, and on our basement. In the battle of hail versus flood, I gotta give it to flood.
Under the hot sun, the last thing you'd think of is a snowstorm. But snow can be your house's worst enemy. Catastrophic winter storms strike North America every year, causing over $700 million in damages. And most of it impacts the spot right over your head.
Today we're testing to see just how hazardous it is when too much snow collects on your roof.
Most roofs are designed to support a snow load of 50 to 100 kilograms per square meter. However, a winter storm is often accompanied by strong winds that can cause snow to drift, creating isolated accumulations that overburden the roof structure.
We don't have a snowstorm today, but what we do have is gravel and a huge conveyor belt.
Okay, bring it in.
At more than 2.5 times the weight of snow, the team shouldn't need much gravel to cause a breach. And by using the conveyor belt, they'll be able to focus it onto one spot, replicating a roof-busting snowdrift.
Okay, go, good, that's good.
With everything in place, Brendan starts the snowstorm.
Take it easy, go slow.
As they get older, most roofs develop weak spots, and it's here that the team is aiming the gravel. If the roof is going to collapse, this is where it will happen.
The front here, where all the water's pooling, that means that our roof has already started to bow, and that's exactly where we want our gravel to land.
The pile has almost reached the equivalent of 1 cubic meter of snow. Including the weight of the water, this is well past the 300 kilogram per square meter capacity of the roof. But the house is yet to creak.
And... guys, this is not working for us, all right? Those beams up there are double joist, and they run the entire span of the roof.
Built like a tank, this house is putting up a fight. If the team wants to simulate a real disaster, they'll need to focus their assault on the inside. But before they do, Dan has another winter remedy that might cause more harm than help. The space heater. Like a little fireplace, it provides supplemental heat throughout the long winter nights. But just like its flame-filled counterpart, this thing's also a killer, 54 times more likely to be lethal than a central heating system.
Whenever you've got a heating element with combustible materials, there's potential for hazard.
A space heater uses metal coils to convert an electrical current into heat. As the coil charges up, it radiates that heat, and a fan behind blows the hot air into the room.
Space heater's been running for about 20 minutes. To the naked eye, it doesn't seem that hot. But when you put the thermal imaging camera on it, you can tell the coils are above 340 degrees Celsius. Now the obvious hazard. What happens when the space heater gets knocked over? It turned off because every space heater has built-in safety mechanisms. To show you how truly hazardous this can be, I'm gonna have to disable them.
New space heaters come with 3 different safety features. A grate, which keeps objects from touching the heated coils. A tipping sensor, which uses gravity and a counterweight to interrupt the power if the space heater is not standing vertically. And finally, the thermostat, which keeps the heater from burning things up.
This is the on and off knob, but it also has a built-in thermostat. That's why I have to take out the entire thing in order to make this work. With the modifications I've made to this space heater, it's become a real hazard. So to show you a real-life scenario, I've modified 2 more. It's not uncommon for people to use multiple space heaters in one room, and they often put them in very unsafe places. Whoops.
With the malfunctioning heaters now inches away from the highly flammable bedroom materials, Dan has created quite the fire hazard. Exactly the circumstances for a bedtime inferno.
One less fan.
It doesn't take long for things to heat up.
Oh. Oh. The bed is officially on fire.
Just 5 minutes in, the overheated coils burn out the fans. But the hazards are far from finished.
The carpet one's making a lot of smoke, but the only fire we got is coming out of the bed.
Not only has the fire erupted out of control, but the fumes coming from the nylon carpeting, polyester curtains, and cotton comforter are creating a toxic mix, just as deadly as the fire itself.
I'm gonna have to put this stuff out.
Let's not forget, the coils are still red hot.
Whoa, hey there. Oh, bye.
It's clearly time to pull the plug.
It's making really bad smoke. I'm gonna put it out. Hey, this one's out. Hey. I'm not picking around here. All right, get out.
Oh my God, look at that smoke. There was a lot of smoke in there.
A heater might be designed with safety in mind, but it only takes minutes for a malfunction to become life-threatening.
The worst part about that fire is that it didn't make a sound. So if you were sleeping in that room, you would have been dead in 10 minutes.
Maybe this winter, try adding another blanket instead. The situations portrayed in this program are very dangerous. They have been performed by trained professionals in order to replicate worst-case scenarios of real-life hazards. Viewers should not, under any circumstances, attempt to replicate any of the situations presented in the program.
Keep it going. Okay, Cole, good, that's good.
The hazard team is putting aside the fact that it's summer to test how much snow it takes to collapse a roof. Using gravel, they're simulating a snowdrift buildup that's heavier than the average load capacity of a roof, 300 kilograms per square meter. But so far, it's holding strong.
Those beams up there are double joist, and they run the entire span of the roof.
Whatever your climate, there are 2 basic types of roof construction. The pitched roof has a slope of 10 degrees or more. Once the snow load reaches a certain level, it will slide off under its own weight. The flat roof, however, needs to be much stronger, as the snow has nowhere to go, allowing for larger buildups that could be catastrophic. To compensate, builders sometimes reinforce these roofs to ensure they can withstand the extra force. Exactly why Dan suspects the roof is still standing.
Brendan, cut it, all right? Francesca, cut it. It's not working. Cut it. This is not working for us, all right? Nobody makes things like that anymore. They're way too strong. We're gonna need to compromise them.
That could happen in a real home. Poor carpentry, no maintenance.
Yeah, maybe there's a leak in the roof and they start to eat away at your beams. So we're gonna have to get in there. Let's go.
With so much weight on the roof, going inside the house is a real hazard. So the guys have suited up and will only be making the minimum amount of changes necessary to simulate poor maintenance in a normal home. Once compromised, it's impossible to know how much snow a roof can support or for how long. And the guys don't want to find out the answer until they're back outside.
Do we do any more or do we go?
Let's do these 2 more and then we're good.
Dan! I think I can hear creaking.
With the joists weakening and 360 kilograms of gravel sitting on top, it's time for the team to get out of the building. But before the experiment can start back up, there's one more cold weather hazard Brendan wants to show you. When the temperatures plummet, many of us forget that our houses feel the effects of the cold as well. All it takes is a small crack in a water pipe, and as much as 950 liters of water a day could be seeping into your home. Something 250,000 families experience under the harshest winter conditions every year. Allow Brendan to demonstrate.
Metal pipe filled with water. Liquid nitrogen. This is what happens when your pipes freeze in the winter.
At minus 196 degrees Celsius, Brendan's using liquid nitrogen to accelerate the freezing process of a harsh winter night. In only a few minutes, the liquid nitrogen freezes the water trapped inside the pipe, which rapidly expands by 9%. And the result?
So you see that? You see the crack? That's what happens to solid cast iron when it freezes in the winter. It cracks your pipes. That's the power of the frozen water in your pipes.
Cracked pipes on average cost homeowners $6,000 in repair bills. But it's easy to avoid by insulating the pipes, installing heat tape, and even letting a tap drip on an extra cold night.
Now what do I do with all this liquid nitrogen?
Liquid nitrogen is a cryogenic fluid that boils at minus 196 degrees Celsius. Anyone can buy it, and it's used in everything from science projects to preparing gourmet cuisine. But don't underestimate its danger. This stuff can cause severe frostbite when exposed to skin. But Brendan wants to show how this cold substance can actually create a miniature weather system. When nitrogen hits the pool, its extremely low temperature causes the moisture in the air above to condense into clouds, forming a tiny tropical storm in the pool. Having weakened the joists, the team's 360-kilogram artificial snowdrift could collapse at any moment. But Mother Nature can still make this scenario a lot worse.
The second load is reaching the top.
Over a long winter, the hazard created by the team could easily sit undetected for months, weakening the beams further with each passing day.
Nice, guys. It's looking really good.
If another storm were to hit the house, it could be a family's worst nightmare. But the team's going to show just how bad a winter can get. On average, a city in North America suffers 5 winter storms a year. And while a roof may be able to take 1 or 2, unless the snow is cleared or allowed to melt, the weight will keep building.
Just keep going like that, guys. It's perfect.
Already past its maximum load limit, there's no way to tell if or for how long the roof will last.
Guys, we are starting to have a collapse. The water is draining. It's important to remember that gravel is about 2.5 times denser than snow. So this represents a much bigger pile, but it still didn't take that much to start the roof collapsing. It's not completely down, but it's dropped a good 2 feet.
All the water pouring in.
Pouring through.
Make no mistake, the breached roof is already a hazard, exposing the house and anyone inside to the severe cold of the winter. But nature can be very unforgiving, with snowfalls lasting for hours and hours. And so with that in mind, the team continues adding to the load.
Guys, I'm hearing some creaking.
With the equivalent of 3 cubic meters of snow on a single spot, it finally gives way, completely destroying one side of the house. While a hazard like this can be avoided, without proper roof maintenance and regular snow clearing, you could be left out in the cold.
What most people don't realize is if you have a flat roof and there's a lot of snow accumulation, this can be the end result.
The situations portrayed in this program are very dangerous. They have been performed by trained professionals in order to replicate worst-case scenarios of real-life hazards. Viewers should not, under any circumstances, attempt to replicate any of the situations presented in the program. Coming up on House Hazards. Chemical spills lead to big thrills in the gardening shed. A table saw takes a slice out of life. And the pressure builds
I feel like it could go any second.
on what's left of the house. Home, sweet home. Well, not as sweet as you might think. Your house is really out to get you. There are thousands of hazards hiding in every home, and our team of experts will separate the fiction from the facts so you can avoid domestic meltdown. Scientist Francesca will expose the hidden dangers lurking in every home. Engineer Dan will show you how everyday appliances can turn from labor-saving to life-threatening. And special effects expert Brendan will recreate the worst-case scenario. Hot water. It's one of the basic creature comforts that North Americans enjoy. Imagine taking a bubble bath without it. But this seemingly magical technology is not without its dangers.
There's a hot water heater just like this one in every single home.
Improperly maintained, a heater can equal the explosive force of 10 sticks of dynamite, making it the most destructive appliance in a home. And this home knows destruction. It's hard to imagine that something found in everyone's home could be this destructive, but the hazard team wants to show you how it could happen. A water tank is really an airtight pressurized steel drum, insulated from the outside to keep it warm inside. That heat is generated by 2 elements, which transfer energy to the water, warming it up to a set temperature.
If we have hot water under pressure, that's a pressure vessel. And anywhere where we have a pressure vessel, that's a bomb.
But it's got a lot of safeties built into it.
That if we compromise those safeties, can we make this thing explode just based on that?
The main safety mechanism on a water heater is in the thermostat. To stop a violent pressure buildup, each thermostat comes equipped with an ECO, or energy cutoff. If the temperature inside the tank gets too high, the ECO will shut off the power, allowing the tank to cool before a violent explosion can take place.
Our water heater has 2 elements, and therefore 2 thermostats. One on the top and one on the bottom. If I bypass the thermostats, our elements will just stay on, making the water hotter and hotter and hotter until this thing blows up.
And that's exactly what the team wants to try out. With a little wire splicing, Brendan is replicating a failed thermostat.
So we can keep track of what's happening inside the tank, I'm gonna install a pressure transducer that'll measure the pressure inside the tank, and I'm gonna install this temperature probe right between the insulation and the tank. That's gonna tell us how hot the tank is getting and about when it's gonna blow. Yeah, looks good.
With the safety devices removed, the temperature is now free to rise without stopping. But it's impossible to tell exactly when the explosion will happen. Could be hours. I just don't know. Explosions such as this one have been known to launch debris up to 800 meters, which means the team needs to be protected if they want to watch. Before going into lockdown, Brendan set up a home hazard experiment with teeth. Of all the power tools a homeowner cherishes the most in his workshop, the table saw is often the most widely used, but it's also dangerous.
Most people are incredibly afraid of operating a table saw, and rightfully so.
Nothing cuts a board quite as cleanly and efficiently as a table saw. But then again, with 31,000 injuries treated in U.S. emergency rooms each year, it seems to cut through human flesh effectively as well. How could someone end up putting a hand into a table saw blade? There are all sorts of reasons for human error.
People are tired, people are rushing, people just have a break in concentration for half a second, and they lose fingers.
A table saw spins a blade at high speeds, which extends from the middle of a flat table. In order to cut material, it must be pushed away from the operator, using a fence for guidance.
Allow me to show you firsthand how fast the devastation can happen.
The most common injury received from a table saw is to the hand, with 10% resulting in amputation. And rather than donating his own digits, Brendan has filled a latex glove with chicken meat and bone, which he'll push into the blade, simulating a disfiguring accident in the workshop. Even though bone is more than twice as strong as wood, the saw still slices through it like a knife through butter. If left unattended, this injury is so severe, the blood loss can cause death.
If this had happened to me in real life, I'd be on my way to the emergency room, with half my hand in a bucket.
Brendan's shown the devastation a table saw can cause to a hand that gets caught in the blade. But that's not where the hazards end with this machine.
Another thing to consider when you're using the table saw is that you're not always cutting a brand new piece of wood. The wood might be old and have imperfections, it might have a knot in it, and sometimes it might have a bolt in it.
Spinning at 4,800 revolutions per minute, the table saw is capable of cutting through the bolt, but it can easily become an unpredictable scenario where the wood could shift or even split. So, to protect himself, Brendan has added a piston to the table saw, which will allow him to operate it remotely.
Now I'm going to engage the piston and send the piece of wood with the bolt through it into the saw blade. The head of this bolt was sheared off and forced down into the block of wood in just half a second. That shows you how fast this blade is moving and how powerful this motor is. But that's not where the hazards end with a table saw.
And with a motor this fast, it's not the only way wood can go airborne. In fact, one of the most deadly hazards an operator can face is something called kickback. Kickback is when the wood is pinched between the saw blade and the fence. If the piece of wood is at an angle and catches rather than cuts, the blade transfers its torque to the wood, shooting it back from where it came.
I'm going to turn the saw on. While the blade is spinning, I'm going to engage the piston, which will push against the board, getting it to run against the blade. That will definitely give us the most violent kickback.
Unable to find a willing volunteer, Brendan is setting up a piece of glass to take the hit, demonstrating the force that could be delivered to a human operating the machine. The saw is on, the board is in place. Now all he has to do is engage the piston. Traveling at a breakneck 440 kilometers per hour. Once the blades catch inside the wood, it's turned into a lethal projectile. The more teeth that catch, the faster the wood kicks back. If this were to hit the chest or abdomen of a person operating it, it could break ribs, puncture lungs, and in the worst case, kill.
The most important thing to remember when dealing with a table saw is that if you do not respect the tool and the dangers surrounding it, then it will not respect you. And that will most likely lead to a serious injury.
Regardless of how dangerous a table saw may be, at least you have a chance at survival. With a water heater, the odds are definitely not in your favor. In an effort to recreate the devastation of a water heater explosion, the team has disabled the thermostat, allowing the water inside to heat up beyond its safety limits.
Looks good.
It's nearly an hour into the experiment, and they still don't know exactly when that explosion will happen.
I've hooked up both the pressure and the temperature sensor to this recorder here. Now this is reading live what's happening inside of our tank. I've also hooked up the recorder to this computer so that I can watch the history of what's taken place. These are our temperature trends, and this is our pressure trend.
As the temperature rises, the water will turn into steam, expanding up to 1,700 times its original size. But with an airtight tank, the steam has nowhere to go, forcing the pressure to build up instead. Only built to withstand 300 psi, if the pressure passes this point, the tank will have no choice but to eventually explode.
Here's the trouble, all right? We're getting up to 140 degrees Celsius. There's no problem with the temperature sensor, but here is the pressure sensor.
Why is there no change in the pressure?
I don't know, maybe it's a trouble with the actual sensor itself.
Can we go in and check?
If we do, we have to go really quick and we have to go now.
The team has no idea if it's the water tank or the pressure sensor that's malfunctioning. Luckily, with only a few minutes having elapsed, it's impossible for the pressure to have reached lethal levels.
There's water everywhere.
With the water already boiling inside the tank, a pressure release valve on the heater is kicked in, letting out the trapped steam, keeping the pressure from building up.
That's why we weren't getting any readings.
All the pressure was let out of the tank. If we plug this thing up, there should literally be nothing that can escape this tank.
This release valve is an added safety mechanism that ended up working this time. But in poorly maintained heaters, mineral deposits often clog these valves, the main cause behind a tank turning lethal.
Hold on.
With the water temperature already beyond its boiling point, it shouldn't take long before the plugged safety creates the pressure buildup the team is looking for.
Perfect. See, now we can start to see the trend. You can see the pressure gradually going up.
Perfect, so that was the problem.
Yeah, and our temperature is now up above 170 degrees Celsius.
Perfect.
All the team has to do now is wait for the lethal results. The situations portrayed in this program are very dangerous. They have been performed by trained professionals in order to replicate worst-case scenarios of real-life hazards. Viewers should not, under any circumstances, attempt to replicate any of the situations presented in the program. The garage. Most homeowners have one, and if you do, you probably went to the trouble of installing an automatic garage door. But garage doors seriously injure more than 20,000 people every year. Now, Brendan wants to show you how an accident could happen to you.
I'm going to test the crushing power of the garage door.
The average garage door opens and shuts 1,500 times a year, but is only rated for a total of 10,000 cycles. That means a 7-year-old door is well past its prime and safety mechanisms could be compromised.
The only real safety mechanism on your garage door is this. This is the optical sensor. It sends an invisible beam of light from one side of the garage door to the other. If that beam gets interrupted, it stops the garage door from lowering.
Now, Brendan wants to disarm these safety sensors, replicating what would happen if they'd been improperly installed or broken. He's also removing the protective rubber strip, which can wear through after years of use, exposing the metal that gives this 90-kilo door a cutting edge.
Playing the part of our crushing victim is Mr. Donkey Piñata. And if we're gonna break open a piñata, we might as well have candy.
Frankie, ready?
I'm ready. Is our piñata ready, though?
He's not ready. That's clearly the point here. All right, here we go.
This piñata is just a stunt double for any child or pet caught in the wrong place at the wrong time.
On garage door. Goodbye, piñata.
As the sensors fail, 90 kilograms of door crush through the piñata's spine. That's what you call a el peligro de la casa.
All right, I'll take that half.
No.
His guts are good, though.
Brendan's door-crushing test has squeezed the candy right out of the piñata.
Why did you crush me, Brendan?
I'm sorry, Piñata Francesca. It was just, today was your day.
Francesca thinks she can make a much worse hazard out of this garage door opener.
This is the idea. Somebody goes up a ladder to check on the chain drive. You're looking around. You're unaware of the fact that a piece of your hair has gotten caught in the chain.
A garage door opener typically uses a 3/4 horsepower motor to pull a bicycle chain back and forth, opening and closing the garage door. Once engaged, they're impossible to stop unless something passes the optical sensor. To demonstrate, Francesca is gluing a full head of hair to this dummy to show what would happen if you got your hair caught in the opener's drive chain.
It's caught up in the chain. All right, looks good to me.
You ready?
All right, go.
Once engaged, the opener is ripping the mannequin's hair with the same force as his small stallion. And worse still, having lost her balance, the mannequin is now dangling a meter off the ground.
Oh, look at her. Ow,
Chunk of hair.
Well, that would have hurt.
That was a horribly morbid situation. It grabbed the chunk of hair, sucked it into the gears, and when it couldn't suck any more hair in, it just tore a clump out and she crashed to the ground.
The other thing is, if it hadn't ripped out of her head, she'd be stuck up there with that motor until someone came in to free her.
Oh, that's a horrible thought. Don't. That makes my head hurt.
In the battle of chain drive versus garage door, I think the chain drive wins.
Now that's a bad hair day. But it's nothing compared to what's been unleashed in the basement. The team has compromised the safeties on their water heater in an effort to show just how destructive this essential appliance can be. If everything goes as planned, the heater will explode at close to 900 feet per second, about the same speed as a 9mm handgun. Except this will be a much larger bullet. Inside the bunker, the team has been waiting for more than an hour, and all they can do is study the numbers.
We're at 180 degrees Celsius, but we still have a long way to go for pressure. It's anybody's guess when it goes.
Even though a tank is tested up to 300 psi, it's only meant to carry 150 psi. And if there are any weak points in the steel tank, it could rupture early, making it too dangerous for the team to leave the bunker. Completely locked down, there's nothing to do but wait and see what will happen.
What do you guys think is gonna happen?
I don't care how high the tank goes, I just want to see that force knock down all the walls and maybe even bring down the second floor.
I'm hoping it shoots straight up beyond my field of vision.
As the minutes tick by, the team settles in, unsure if and when disaster may strike. Having a beautifully landscaped home can increase its value by 12%, but all those gardening products come with a hidden cost. Your typical garden shed is filled with hazardous materials, and if you don't store them properly, you might get a real bang for your buck. Leaving these toxic and volatile products exposed to water leaks or even animals is a very bad thing. It only takes a few spills and a match, and you can have yourself a genuine fertilizer bomb. just steps from your house.
Chemicals plus open flame plus closed door means Brendan gets a new shed.
This explosion produces a pressure wave that travels at the speed of sound. It's clearly strong enough to kill someone standing nearby.
Goodbye, shed.
Brendan, Dan, and I have been in this bunker for over 3 hours now. It is minute-to-minute stress. This could go off at any second.
It could go before the 300 PSI, couldn't it? Possibly?
Agreed.
Inside the house, the team's malfunctioning water heater is building up to what could be a home-destroying explosion. But outside, things are moving slowly.
Like it's just a big bed right there.
After 3 hours, the team is getting bunker fever.
The reality is that we can't leave until it goes off. I'm sweating, I'm exhausted waiting for this thing to go.
Still, all the data points to an imminent disaster.
We've just hit 200 degrees Celsius. At this point, the pressure's gonna start climbing exponentially. This is serious business.
At 200 degrees, the tank is now closing in on the limit it was tested to by the manufacturer. And with each passing second, the pressure inside is growing faster than ever before. It could blow at any moment. Beyond 300 PSI, the tank is now containing more heat and pressure than it ever has before. It's like lighting a bomb, but you don't know how long the fuse actually is.
Finally!
Look at the steam rising out!
The whole house is gone.
Oh my God, I've been waiting hours for that. That's beautiful. I'm so glad.
The longer we waited, the bigger the bang got.
Reaching a total of 351 PSI, the steel could no longer contain the intense forces inside. It's absolute devastation.
Look at that! It just opened up like a can of beans!
That's awesome.
The other wall's also gone.
It looks like it was cut in half. Imagine we were in there or anyone was in there. This is devastating.
Oh no, you'd be dead.
The shockwave alone would liquefy your insides, let alone the shrapnel.
I felt that shockwave inside the bunker, 250 feet away. That's bad.
This is something that people really need to pay attention to and maintain their water heaters.
We just saw how powerful and how destructive a water heater can be. And there's literally one in every single home. These kinds of accidents happen all the time. But it's also the perfect way to illustrate home hazards. The force that came out of that thing ripped through the walls. There was nothing that could stop it. This was one final house hazard to bring down the house.